Boa tarde, bem-vindos a mais esta sessão dos 30 anos, comemoração dos 30 anos de CBQF. Esta é a última sessão antes do mês de agosto, antes de férias. Esta sessão terá toda ela lugar em inglês e cumpre-me apenas solicitar que, caso queiram colocar alguma questão, o façam no fundo do vosso ecrã, no menu Q&A. Sem mais delongas, passo a palavra à professora Freni Tavaria, que vai dar as boas-vindas em nome do CBQF.
Obrigada, Maria. I shall now pass on to English. Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of the director of our research center, it's with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this 5th seminar that, as you know, is one of the seminars that we are having within the scope of the celebration of the 30 years of our center, of our research center, CBQF, which was funded in 1991. And we have been having throughout this year a series of activities, not only seminars, but various activities, but the seminars are one of those activities. And today we are having one kindly delivered by Dr. Marco Della Rosa, a full professor from the University of Bologna, to whom I already thank very much for his presence and for giving us this talk today, which I hope and I'm sure we will all enjoy very much, as it will be very enlightening and fruitful. And so once again, I would like to just thank you to all of you for your presence here today, and especially to Professor Marco Della Rosa. And I will pass on now the word to my colleague, Professor Cristina Luisa, which will more appropriately introduce our guest for today. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Freni. Also, thank you to the direction of our research center. Good afternoon to everybody. It's really a pleasure to introduce you Professor Marco Della Rosa. This is the commemoration of 30 years of CBQF, and I think I know Professor Marco Della Rosa. Maybe since then we collaborate for many years. Also, these webinars or master classes under the 30 years commemoration of the research center, we try to cover the different laboratories and expertises around our research center. So it's also a pleasure for me that Professor Marco Della Rosa works in a field of food processing and quality, also quite related with the laboratory that I am representing, that is food processing and engineering. We have been collaborating, I would say, mostly in education in our field of food science and engineering for many years in several Erasmus projects and also European projects. And I think we will continue to collaborate for many years. Professor Marco Dalla Rosa is known worldwide is very active in research in novel technologies and other topics that you will see from his presentation. So it's really a pleasure to be presenting this well-known expert, but also a very good friend for many years. And I also will hope to continue to be together and to hug him soon when this pandemic finished. So Professor Marco Dalla Rosa is going to make a presentation on the topic post-COVID challenges in food processing and value chains. Thank you very much, Professor Marco.
Thank you, Christina, for the introduction. Very nice introduction, and for the invitation for this celebration of the 30 years of the Research Center CBQF. I try now to also I acknowledge all the organizer for that, because of course it's very interesting to have this type of interaction with Portugal, with Porto, and especially I try to share my screen with Zoom. Yeah. And because also, so I have to introduce a little bit the University of Bologna. It's my university. During the video, the voice said 9th century of history for Portugal. So we have 9th century of history, because the University of Bologna was born in 1088, and it seems to be the oldest university in the world. So we are the mother of all the universities. So this is Alma Mater Studiorum, because through the history of the University of Bologna first, and then other university in the world, in Europe and in the world, we develop a timeline up to the Bologna process. The quite discussed process, the Bologna process at the end of the last century, in order to design the new education area in Europe. And so we celebrate also the 20th anniversary of the Bologna process a couple of years ago. So this is our history, and also the placement of Bologna process is the position of Bologna process is in the world. We have officially one place, an office, and some activities in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, but also in China and the USA. But in Italy, we are in the Emilia-Romagna region, and we are organizing in a multi-campus system. Other than Bologna, there are also other poles, we call poles or campuses, in Ravenna, Forlì, Cesena, Rimini. Actually, I am in Cesena because the food related courses are held in Cesena. So this is why we are close to the seaside. It's not the ocean side that you have in Porto, but anyhow, it's the Adriatic side. It's not so bad. What about the numbers of our students? We are close to 90,000 students in all the campuses, and the international students are about 6,500. Divided in the different type of education, and more for the third level, the PhD level of education, many of them. The ratio here in the gender is nice because we have more women than men in general. So we are quite interesting, and we are quite attracting students from Europe, but also from other parts of the world. So this is we're very proud for that. So now going to the topic, we are looking to some challenges that are important for our future. In particular, the increase of the planet population, close to 10 billion in 2050, and more urbanization, more urbanization, more concentration in urban area, and this is it means to have a less possibility to have direct access to the food from the agriculture, but we need a food chain more complex. And the increment of the middle class also is an interesting point, because it means that people more and more in the world will be asking for increasing the quality of the product, especially the quality of the proteins, and especially the quality of meat proteins. So we have on the basis of this type of point the challenge to have more need for meat product. This is one of the problems. And also the climate change. We have to face the climate change. We also take into account the problem of sustainability, but also the COVID. The COVID that we are totally inside the pandemic. We are going quite smoothly with the vaccination. So, for example, we have a different type of system of vaccination in different countries in Europe. But one of important point that I found in some publication, not in our area specifically, but in our close to our interest area of science, is that probably there is a connection between the increase on the pandemics, on the problem related to the increase of the disease, and the climate change, for different reasons. One reason is the deforestation, and then the loss of wildness in which some viruses are normally normally living in there, staying there in the quite confined environment. Instead, with the deforestation, so the increase of the use of the land, we are going to destroy this wildness, and then to have more contact with the wild environment and the anthropic environment. And then also the climate change in general. So the possibility to have fire here in California, or the melting of the glaciers, or the very strong storms destroying forests, like 3 years ago in the north of Italy, where a million and million of trees were destroyed in one night by a very big storm. So we are not involved directly in this type of activity, but we have to take into account this, because we have to take into account the use of the resources. Here we have, you know, it's quite well known the calculation, the computation of the Earth overshoot day. It means the day in which during the year we are ending the resources for that year in using the resources, natural resources, for human activities. And so we are at the end of July. We are close to finish already our resources for this year. But just it's interesting to see that just last year, the 2020, we had a gap, a positive gap, because because it was the lockdown. So the lockdown due to the COVID-19 means that some activity were not so normally run. So we saved some days, but just few days, not so much, but it's very interesting. I have the strips of Zoom that are over my screen, so I have to manage sometimes. So we have to act. We manage these challenges. First of all, to guarantee the food security for so much people, so many, so big population, so many people. But we have also to try to reduce the glass house emission. So the reduction of the glass house emission is one of the goals that we have for our activity now and in the future. But also to pay attention to the food losses and waste reduction, and then to shift toward a more sustainable diet. And all those 4 points are inside the 17th Sustainable Development Goals of the United States nation. So this is why we are very, very much involved in this type of activity. And one of the exercises that we did inside our society, scientific society of food science and technology in Italy, has been the inventory of all the possibilities that we have to contribute to this type of reduction of glass house emission and to reduction to face the challenges that we already said. So from the use of alternative protein sources with less environmental impact, or to move to the plant-based, to the insect-based protein, to the microalgae protein, etc., but also the use of renewable energies, or the reduction of the losses during the processing, or the reduction of the contaminants to the effluents, of course, the valorization of waste, the byproduct, the traceability, evolution, the shelf life concept, again, from the engineering viewpoint, to introduce automation and robotics, digitalization, technological optimization to reduce the losses, the life cycle assessment studies to evaluate really the new technologies. And so also all things related to the packaging, the use of biopolymers versus recyclable materials to obtain the shelf life prolongation and waste reduction. So all these activity are carried out inside our research groups in Italy, but I can say in Europe and in all over the world. But this was just an exercise to have an inventory of all the possibility that we have to contribute to tackle the criticism of the challenges that we say. So another point is very interesting, looking also to the agricultural technology, agricultural side. So the primary production is the role of the technological improvement and shift of the diet to reduce the environmental impact. And this is very interesting. This is a publication in Nature. We can say that about the field criticism related to the nutritional component inside the land, like phosphorus, nitrogen, or the use of the water, or the use of the cropland. Technologies are the most important things. So we have a very big possibility to introduce technology to improve and to have the tool actually to reduce the environmental impact. But about the glass house emission, So the carbon footprint, di per se, the carbon footprint is much more related to the shift of the diet. There is also a small contribution of the technology, but the shift of the diet is considered to be the most important factor to be able to reduce the environmental impact. It is a very interesting graph. So now I'm using some slides from the Global Harmonization Initiative, that is an association, a worldwide association, and I am one of the ambassadors for Italy, because inside the Global Harmonization Initiative, especially from the friends from the Pontificia Università Católica de Chile, we try to establish some point related to the COVID-19 and the relationship with the activity inside the food industry. So already you know, all of you know very well which type of pandemic we are facing now. So I can go quickly, and this is the graphs of yesterday that I downloaded yesterday, in which we have Italy here, the three phases of the three peaks actually of the pandemic in Italy, and also in the other graph the situation of Portugal, and where probably the second one was less intense. But you are going to have the fourth. Also, we have here the fourth coming out because of the Delta strain. But yeah, probably you have already some increase more than in Italy. But we are in this situation. We are not finished the pandemic, and even in Italy we are going to open almost everything. So now we can don't use the mask outside, and just inside. So we are discussing to the use of the green pass to go to the restaurant or to go to the theater, but we still have an increase of cases. Even though fortunately we don't have increase in the hospital. But anyhow, this is the situation now. So we are still inside the pandemic, we can say. And so there are some strategies that we have to take into account inside the agro food environment activities. So of course has been a lot of impacts in all segments in the supply chain, from the field to the consumer. So with the decrease of the employments, so labor shortage. So problem related to the transportation, so the disruption of transportation network, and dumping of fresh produce due to the market access difficulties. So it was more difficult to access to the market, and especially for the exportation. The exports was really reduced by the pandemic. So we are now I try to put away the strips of Zoom. Sorry. So in the consumer, we have sometimes a behavior of panic buying. So to collect much more goods than necessary, and the growth of the online grocery, of course, and meal delivery sector. This was the only possibility for some people also to maintain the activity of the restaurants, for example, but also the increase in the food consumed at home. So the increase also on the purchase of raw material to prepare food at home also was very interesting, and increased demand for functional food, and also for the long shelf life food. So this could be considered a contradictory, but in fact is not, because we are going to ask the consumers. They went to ask for more fresh food and more functional food, in order to have a much more protection. So we have also other point to say that, but also on the other side, long-term food, long shelf life food, to have more food at home to be able to maintain also if we are not able to go out for a new purchase during the week or during the months. So that's quite interesting. So it has been many information in online platform, both for food, but also for public, for food area, for food enterprises, for food activities, and the supply chain. Many information appear in these 2 years, 1 year and a half, and also the possibility to have guidance for mitigation the risk or spreading the COVID-19 in many from public or private or worldwide or local organization was also very interesting. And in order to have, sorry, I have no, I don't, I'm not able to, I'm sorry, I'm not able to have, I try to go, yeah, here. So we have some specific activities related to the risk assessment, to the verification of a spreadsheet, to remote food safety consulting and auditing, in order to have much more control inside the food industry, with the increasing of also the training of the people, and so in order to have an education of how to manage the food industry in case of COVID. An interesting thing, so it's related to the consumer behavior. We already said something before. And this is, for example, 10 key post-COVID scenarios in which we have the people that's going to purchase more local food, or more preparation of food at home. So a lot of people more inspired to also to prepare. So this boosted also some new gastronomy at home. People that was not able to, or not used to prepare food at home, they started to do that. And there was a very nice increase in this type of also in the social network. We will say a lot of pictures and videos, so how to cook this and this one. So it was very interesting. But also this is related to the immunity advantage. So to go toward the more considered positive for our health immune system. So through the choice of this, of some type of food, especially fresh food, of vegetable and fruits, to have more immunity advantage. So also this was very interesting. And another thing quite interesting is the indulgence. Indulgence to have also some particular food, also of a high cost food or high price, in order to satisfy some, some negative situation like lockdown. So we have this affordable indulgence. So also the other points are related to that. So we need to speed to market and answer food safety protocols, etc., etc. And also, of course, the increasing of the e-commerce also in the food area. So again, other point related to the behavioral shift during the pandemic from the beginning. That is the number one here, to go to have a proactive, health-minded buying, up to the 6 to going toward a renewed normal type of living, to people that return to the daily routines, but with some memory and some habits that are changed during the pandemic. So we don't have so much time to follow all of this, but it's quite interesting to see how the purchase habits changed during, or are still changing during the pandemic. And of course, change also the activity and the impact in the food industry and in the food, the preparation of the food in the industry. Some numbers related to that, especially for Italy here. Generally, there was an increase in the food purchases of 5%. The people was buying less meat, also because there was a lot of problem related to the slaughterhouse from the protocols inside the slaughterhouse. We had some problem, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. They are looking to less perishable food, but an increasing of 15% of fruit and vegetables, more local and less imported, of course, more healthy food, increase for food delivery, increase also the ready-to-eat food, of course, more home cooking. In Italy, plus 40% of flours, milk, and eggs, because we are preparing more pasta product at home. So increase also in the alcohol, in the wine especially, and in the pasta 70%. So going to the scientific aspect related to the increase of the functional food to look into the improving of our health immune system, there are also some references with the impact on the vitamin C, on the vitamin D, that are able to give more protection also from the virus itself. And this is why just a few months ago, there was a special issue on food reformulation innovation, especially connected to this healthier and more functional food for more sustainable eating, also in cases of pandemic. Inside the food industry, actually, we had to establish new protocols in order to have new infrastructure and also new research. So we need to have some operative protocols, like in the shops, for example, use of gloves, use of masks, etc. But also change the position, the infrastructure inside the food plants. So in order to have a distance, to have protection between workers, I was already saying something related to the slaughterhouse that were very, very badly famous for that, because there was a lot of clusters inside the slaughterhouse, because in that type of environment, of production environment, the virus was expanded, diffused very, very fast. So other strategy for the food industry, the reduction of working hours, the reduction of product variety with focus on popular products, but also to change the supply chain in order to use digital technologies, also alternative sources of raw material. We already said something that. So this is some strategies to give more possibility. Another point related to the technological scientific advancement is that related to the fact that the COVID-19 at the beginning was suspected to be transmitted also by or through the food. So the World Health Organization say that is not the case. There is no evidence, so it is not a foodborne disease transmitted by the food. But another scientific advances, another scientific observation is that in fact we have some survivals of the COVID, the SARS-CoV-2 on materials, also materials for food packaging. So this is why we start working on that, because we already in my groups, my group and groups related to our group, we were already working on sanitation by plasma in different type of food for the sanitation by plasma toward the microbes, but also towards virus, usually food virus that are normally founded on food. And so based on this type of experience, this is just the definition of the plasma. This is the fourth state of the matter, and there are some species, chemical species, that are able to work in destruction of the microorganism, and also other chemical species, chemical toxic species. So in order to establish this type of activity on disinfection, sanification of materials, we are using atmospherical plasma, looking to the effect on the bacterial cells, but also on the virus, and the effect on the food products. And we move from the food, the normal food virus, like a virus that usually are found in the food, to the SARS-CoV-2, in order to have the plasma contamination of the SARS-CoV-2 RNA. We had a regional, very short, very fast regional project, but also an European project in the frame of the EIT food, in the European Institute of Technology. So in this project called PASS, Plasma Assisted Sanitation System, we were able to look to the possibility to reduce or to strongly reduce the persistence of the SARS-CoV-2 in materials, and potentially also on the surface of food itself. So we had a prototype for cold plasma treatments in collaboration with Alma Plasma, that is a spin-off of the University of Bologna in the engineering, formerly in the engineering faculty. They are working on plasma. And we did, together with the medical doctors here, the inoculation of RNA of SARS-CoV-2 on different material. And we had already some nice data related to the study of the reduction of the decontamination of food packages from SARS-CoV-2 RNA with plasma-assisted system. So we are very proud of this idea that we had a few months ago, actually, more or less 1 year ago. This was quite interesting. So in 10 minutes of plasma exposure, we have to complete reduct the nude RNA, and almost a complete damage of RNA in full virus. And so the complete inactivation of further virus replication. And we didn't have any negative impact of this on the food. So I'm going to finish my presentation here. We have we did, after this experience, we designed another inventory of activities able to push for a Green Deal in post-COVID-19 in the food industry. So, of course, again, the flexitarianism, immunoprotection, accessibility for the low-income consumers, because we had an increase of poverty in, I think, in all the countries. So increase the safety or longer preservation, but also to push on renewable energy sources and less demanding technologies like plasma, cold technologies, non-thermal technologies. And then going through the primary production to have a safer animal production, and less deforestation, increase the productivity, but with less land use, and increase the resilience of plants. Of course, reduce also the water demands, and to introduce sustainable technology to increase the efficiency and to reduce the impact. And again, at the end, to have a more sustainable packaging. Here on the left, the supply chain. So after the COVID, of course, all the globalization system have to be rethinked, in my opinion, because some type of exportation are not more sustainable, probably. So we will be able to go, we need to go to a shorter food chain, of course, but maintaining the protection due to the packaging. This is also very interesting. So this is another inventory of activity that we thought after the COVID-19, after the beginning. So we are still in the middle. So in conclusion, what COVID, you know, is not considered a foodborne disease, but we have to take into account that inside the food industry or in the food contact material, we could have this type of contamination. And food processor also, they have to prevent the diffusion of the virus among the workers. And so there are procedures, protocols to avoid this. The scientific information continues to evolve, so we have to look at that, to follow very well, because the links related to the primary production and the supply chain, the impact on the climate change and the related increase of pandemics is really a key point for our future researches. Yeah, true. The food research is about the increase in sustainability, have more functional food, but also increase resilience in the food supply chain, better technology and acquisition of more scientific information for a better biosecurity arrangement. So, obrigado. Thank you very much for following me. 5 minutes later, but I think that I hope at least that we could have had a picture of my thought related to the increase or need to increase the sustainability, especially in the post-COVID environment in the food industry for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Marco, for this overview and also your contribution in this area. I see that for the moment, not yet questions from the participants, but I would have a lot. So you show us your work on plasma, and also as I understood, I think it was a medical group that carried out the experiments. So do you think, two questions, do you think food technologists are we prepared to carry out this kind of research using virus? I mean, in terms of what you know internationally by different organizations, and also how easy is going to be, I'm not aware, it's a question for application of plasma, if it's easy to implement by industry, and if think other technologies have also potential to be applied, for example, for disinfection of packagings.
Thank you, Christina, for the questions. Yes, the first question is that we need experts in virus, in virus manipulation. So this is why we were very lucky, because here in the health public system, we had a very nice group, very good scientifically, and they did the inoculation of the surfaces. And then with the inoculated surfaces, we we brought the inoculated surfaces with the SARS-CoV-2 RNA to the plants, to the small plant, the pilot plant, that we brought the pilot plant directly close to the inoculation room. So this is was possible to do that. We were very lucky to have this. Of course, food technologists are also our students are involved in that. But we are looking to the technological part and then to the possible impact of the use of plasma on the quality and also on the quality of the materials. So we did all the quality assessment of the material, if the material is changing in permeation, permeability, in resistance, in lightness, etc., etc. But we need, of course, we need the various experts. The second is, yes, the plasma sanification decontamination is used in packaging industry. The packaging industry, they already use the plasma to decontaminate the surface. You know, the plasma is I say is a sister technology than the use of the ozone. The ozone, because there is the only ozone. But in the plasma, you have ozone and many other species. But the effect is similar. But you have other radicals, radical species that are more active than ozone. But the concept is like the use of the ozone. The ozone is already used. The plasma is an improvement with respect of the ozone technology, because there are many other species are able to have much more efficiency. The third questions, I don't remember.
I think it was related with that, because I was trying to see, for example, if ozone could be applied. Yeah. So do you think ozone maybe can also?
Yes, ozone also could be applied. But for example, also the group of microbiologists that we are working with us, they are working on the use of natural antimicrobial. A natural antimicrobial like essential oils. They have also some activity in decontaminate the surface from viruses. So they also did something. Probably is less efficient, but also in that case we have this type of activity. So ozone for sure. Plasma is more strong.
I understand.
Yeah, it's a cold at a low temperature, but is stronger than ozone.
I have also now another question from my colleague, Professor Antonio Couto.
Yes.
The question is, you mentioned several shifts on food consumption and food production due to COVID. Which ones you think will reverse after the pandemic, and which one will remain forever?
Yeah. Thank you for the question. It's very nice. Very nice questions. I think that we will maintain the attention to the local products, and probably also to more increase of attention of the homemade food, and about the healthier food. Much more than before, I think. So probably when we, at least this is my opinion, but going to the supermarket and to buy fruits or products that are coming from the other side of the planet, probably now from now we will be more motivate to pay attention to that, because we know that we decrease the energy demand or the resource demand, because we had less airplanes flying. No, this is one of the reduction of the impact of anthropic carbon footprint on the planet last year, because we had less airplane transportation. So if the people is going to be more aware that there is a connection between the use of the resources and the pandemic or the increase of the diseases, that it is. The biologists, they are saying that. Also the biologists in the veterinary medicine, they say that there is yes, much more this type of problem related to the loss of the wildness. So I think that culturally the people change some part of the minds. Other habits probably return exactly the same. But yeah, please.
There is no question more, but I've been thinking also on this while you were doing the presentation. Yeah. And at the same time, I feel like probably there will be needs for some political decisions.
Yeah.
Because maybe as soon as this pandemic finishes, maybe we start again to do everything in the same way. Perhaps, yeah, we will see. We will see, but yeah, perhaps.
So of course,
at least the older ones, maybe.
Yeah. For sure, I will wish to come to Porto to visit you and to visit the CBQF.
You can already come because I guess you are vaccinated.
Yeah, of course. I have the green pass. I have the green pass. So
yeah.
But
okay.
For example, for sure, we will start again to have international conferences, etc. But some movements, also short range movements, probably we will maintain the remote mode.
Yeah, in that part, I agree with you that we will, at least for work, we learn how to work like now. We are doing an excellent webinar without the need for you to spend 2 days, because it's not only the travel, it's the time that you would take to come, stay here. Okay, you would enjoy Porto, but but we can do much more also. Certainly we need to learn from this and take also the good part, and that we can learn and do more. Just a very last question.
Yes.
Do you think as institutions on this field of food processing that we need to offer immersion training to our students and also to professionals in this area, or they are quite well prepared for coping with the COVID?
I think that inside the food industry, they did already, at least in the structured food industry, they already did a very nice job. I remember some big industry here around in the first peak of the first lockdown. They have I don't know 3,000 people, workers. They didn't have one. No one was infected. But the level of attention have to be maintained very high, because the positive things that some habits related to the hygiene, washing the hands, and to pay attention to sanitation of tools, etc., probably will remain like in habits. But the level of attention have to be maintained very high, because it will be good also for the normal work inside the food industry. So I think that the well-structured industry are already prepared. The problem was related to some small company or particularly bad environment, like the slaughterhouse. The slaughterhouse in Germany, in France, in Italy, in Belgium, they have a lot of clusters during the lockdown because at low temperature, very high humidity, workers very close one to each other. So there was the diffusion very cluster, very big also cluster, a large number of workers with the illness. So, and the illness is, especially at the time, was very bad. I had, yes, I personally, I had, we have lost some friends for the COVID or other friends that had very strong hospital treatment, very strong. So it's not good. So we still have some to wear some mask inside, for example, in the university. And so we have to maintain a high level. Yeah.
It must be, yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't see any other question. We are now finishing. It's 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I thank you again, Marco. And if you, during your holidays, you want to sail to Portugal,
I saw also
visit us.
Yeah, I saw also the sailboat of the university.
Yes. So I don't know, but I can find if you can use it.
I saw them in the video, you know.
Yeah. I know. They use it for some I think some teaching for people to work as a team. It's also in classes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much, Marco.
Thank you, Christina. It was really a pleasure to stay with you, but also with other people. And probably I don't know if I already encountered that, but I'm very happy to give also my opinions, my view.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I also take opportunity to tell the participants that if they can answer the survey that is in the chat part. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon. See you soon, and thank you.
Ciao, Cristina.
Ciao.